G'day mates, welcome back to my YouTube channel. We have tournaments finally back, the first duo cash cup of the season. I want to go over everything, why we had hackers in first place who didn't get banned the whole tournament while actively promoting selling hacks on their social media. We also have some ridiculous pop-offs from Deyy and Scoped. I'm going to throw in there, keep it spicy in case you guys missed it. Two of the most insane solo clutches to clutch up in their very last games. Also, I want to talk about the current state of the game according to the pros. We have pros like Stretch and Jerry giving pretty scathing opinions of the game right now and why they're so upset with Epic. Also, we have the announcement of our first console cup of Chapter 3 Season 1, the PlayStation Cup for over $100,000 prize pool. So I'll cover all the details about that at the end of today's video. Let's just jump into it. Just quickly, before we jump into today's video, I want to give a huge shout out and thank you to today's sponsor, Skillshare. I feature them a whole bunch on the channel. It's an online learning platform with thousands of courses taught by real people, real experts in their field, but the courses also range from beginner all the way up to advanced. So if you just want to learn a new skill for fun, or you're already an expert in your craft and you just want to pick up some new skills, Skillshare is the place to do it. You guys always ask me, Aussie, I want to get into making YouTube videos. I want to make content online, but I just don't know where to start. Well, lucky for you, one of Skillshare courses is absolutely perfect for this. I highly recommend it. It's YouTube Success, Script, Shoot, and Edit with MKBHD. It's got a whole bunch of courses all the way from introducing how to make a YouTube channel, starting your project, writing scripts, editing, all the way down to just how to grow your YouTube channel in general. Not only that, if you're one of the first 1,000 people to click the link in the description down below, you'll get a 1-month free trial to Skillshare so you can try out any of their courses and find out if it's right for you. Thank you again to Skillshare for sponsoring today's video. Now let's just jump into it. We had our first official cash cups of the season. We obviously had the evaluation cup a little bit earlier, but a lot of people don't really take those too seriously. This was our first chance to see how the competitive meta was going to play out going into Chapter 3 Season 1. And as you can imagine, there was a lot of frustration. There was a lot of players upset. We had Stretch write an entire essay on the issues that are wrong with the season right now. I'll get to that a little bit later, but let's focus on some of the placements. Let's focus on some of the actual performance before we just talk about the meta and it's just a whole bunch of complaining about SMGs. So straight out of the gate, the first problem was we kicked off with EU with a scenario that is happening a lot at the moment. We were absolutely overrun with hackers. And I know I'm not just saying because the SMG is crazy, I'm making a joke about hackers. I mean actual hackers. At one point there, we had people going into the replay files and figuring out there was about maybe 5 to 10 different teams that were hacking inside top 50. Now, I wasn't able to verify all of these different teams. I know a few of them have been taken off the leaderboard. One such team, which I will not name because it just promotes hacking and makes the situation worse, was actually in first place for almost the entirety of the tournament. And when people started looking up this player to figure out who they were, very quickly realized they were hacking. But if you went to their social media, he actually had a tweet where he was actively promoting a Discord that sells hacks. Like, it's just, I understand that we've talked about this conversation so many times, but Epic really needs to pick up their game and have some kind of a staff member verifying and checking these things to get these people banned much quicker. You can't be hacking in a cash cup for 2 hours and you go to their Twitter and you can literally see them advertising a Discord selling hacks. Not only are they hacking in a tournament for money and ruining it for everyone, they're using it as a platform to advertise the hacks that they're using to sell more of them. Like, it was just absolutely ridiculous. Again, they weren't the only one. There was a lot of teams accused of hacking. There was a lot of underrated teams placing. A lot of people can't figure out whether that's because the meta right now does have a lower skill ceiling with the spray meta, so maybe players are just doing better than what they normally do, but there was a lot of teams with very few events played doing incredibly well. So just want to mention that one straight out of the gate. We did have that issue, but overall it was fun to watch. There was a lot of really good teams that played very well, and it was a good chance to look at some of these brand new teams, one of which is the first place on EU, Vidil and Rezon, coming out in first on 194, 7 matches played, 3 wins. There's a lot of big notable places inside the top 50. I will note as well, a lot of people curious as to why Savage and Benji weren't playing. Benji Fishy was unfortunately sick, so Savage and Benji did not play together. They did play with different teams. They have not split. It's just because Benji was sick. Also, some other huge placements down the board as well. I'm not going to read out every single one. Pink and Anas caught a lot of people's eyes. Nebs and Hellfire, which I've been told is pretty much Hellfire is the most underrated player in the world right now. Looking like an EU version of Cold. It looks like Hellfire and Cold both set to have an absolutely incredible season this season. Both playing with very notable, very high-performing players, just going absolutely crazy. We also had Coral and Splash's team up there. Savid and Marion, a brand new team that's just formed as well. Most of these teams are brand new. Taston and Thomas HD were were actually in first place for the majority of the tournament until their last 2 games. Unfortunately, a 17-minute 4 Elim 18th and a 23-minute 5 Elim 8th kind of dropped them down the leaderboard a little bit after their ridiculous 43 Elim win to open up the tournament. So Tayson and Thomas HD definitely looking like a team to look out for as well. We had Nako and Dan, who caught my eye very early on. Nako and Dan were streaming their games, and I managed to catch all 3 of their victory hours, and they looked incredibly strong. They're a team that basically, if they make it to endgame, if they go into rotating zones looking good, they win. That is pretty much their win condition. There's only one game, I think, where I saw them get around rotating zones, but they didn't go on to pop off as well. Outside of that, there were still some other big performances. Jack and Illis being the only NA team that managed to place inside the top 50 to make the round 2. Kami and Teague just squeezing in into 49th place overall. I will do more of an in-depth breakdown when it comes to the set lobbies, who's dropping where and who's playing with who, because it's a bit more exciting when it's set lobbies rather than being an open cash cup and then only the top 50 teams get in, which is a format that already some pros aren't super happy with. Just having anyone in champs play and then getting down to top 50 is quite RNG based, and Epic also taking the decision to not use their new format. You may have heard about it, I talked about it on this channel. The cash cups are supposed to be a best 7 game scenario, so you have 3 hours, you can play a maximum of 10 games, but they take your best 7. They don't take all of them, which will allow for some teams to have throwaway games. But I think the idea Epic's going with is, instead of having W key games where you go crazy and leave just to get those few Elim points, it only takes your best games when you fully play them out. For whatever reason, Epic did not go with that. Right now, the cash cups are the normal format, 3 hours taking up to 10 games total, but taking as many games as you play in that 3 hours. Moving on over to NA, we had what is my most underrated team of the season. I said this on stream a couple days ago, so I'm not just jumping on this one after they do well. I did say it ahead of time. Pamstu and Fatch, the French Canadians, getting 225 points, 27 points over second place, playing 9 games and winning 5 of them, playing absolutely ridiculous. So excited to see them as well. A pretty underrated team of Smite and Twix also in second, and Shadow and Me Too. I feel like the top 3 on NA East were all pretty underrated. You start to get to the big names once you move down a little bit. Acorn and Miro, the brand new form team, 8 matches, only 1 victory hour, but average elims of 9.8. So absolutely fragging out, going crazy. Then we had Joji Rokane up there. Again, I'm not going to go through every single name on the list. We had Peterbot and Kanata, Tahi and Edgy. We had a few people that people were kind of confused about whether they were going to stay as a proper team. Tayson and Thomas HD, the highest placing EU team on NAE's, double qualifying as well. We had Ages and Rise, who, yes, they are still together. That was an impression farm a few weeks ago. We have Illest and Jack, which might confuse some of you. Muzz was set to be playing with G2 Esports Jack, but unfortunately that didn't work out well after the third-party tournament they played. Jack decided to go back with Illest, but don't worry, don't feel too bad for Muzz just yet. I'll talk about that one in a second. We had DJ and Eomzo up there, Deyy and Clicks, who, proving a lot of doubters wrong. A lot of people expecting Deyy and Clicks to potentially split up after a string of pretty poor performances in third-party tournaments, but as we all know, in-game tournaments are very, very different. Going down the list as well, we had D-Roll and Larson, Cole. We had managed to have a team that I'm so excited about. Where were they? Have I already passed them? No, there it is. Landjock and Punisher. And I love this one so much. Almost all of you will have heard of Landjock or Punisher if you're an older fan of the esport. If you've been around since World Cup, this is a team you're very familiar with. If you've only shown up recently, you might not know these were 2 of the OG GOATs, 2 of the best players in the world around the World Cup and earlier, and to see them come back and go this crazy. Remember, Landjock is also NA West, unless I'm mistaken. So Punisher and Landjock, who's on NA West ping, getting 153 points, placing top 50 when their last game was honestly a pretty bad game too, a 21-minute game to get a 1 Elim 21st. That is disastrous for a last game, and they still came top 50. Huge performance. I'm so happy to see them back, and it gives hope. It really does give hope for a lot of those players and those teams that have, stepped away from Fortnite to come back and give it a go. Like, this makes me think there's a huge chance for players like Chap, if they ever came back to the game, to pop off and perform really well. They have put in the time. I'm not going to pretend they haven't. Landjock's been streaming Punisher and him playing so many scrims. They have put in the hours and put in the work to get to this point, but it's really cool to see. You can still take all that game knowledge and everything that you used to have, come back, work on your mechanics, readapt to the meta, and pop off. And obviously, again, we're going to talk about this meta in a second. A lot of people saying it's a lower skill ceiling when it comes comes to mechanics, which is maybe leaning into that, but I don't want to take this performance away from Landjock and Punisher. They placed 2 places behind Skittles and Booga. Just an insane performance from them. Also, we had Blake and Scoped just miss out on qualifying. I'm going to talk about Scope's clutch in a second. Jamper and Tragics as well, just missing out. And I know I was going to mention Muzz. Muzz is now playing with Avery. Started off with a really huge performance. I think they got like a 31 elim second in their first game. There are a lot of teams missing from this, like Centered and Cold, like Muzz's team. Virginia right now, which is obviously the state that gets 0 ping for NA East, is having massive internet issues. I believe Muzz disconnected 2 or 3 times on rotating zones. Center was talking about how he's playing on 50 ping with 10% packet loss. 50 ping is doable. 10% packet loss is different. Packet loss lag is so much worse than normal lag because it means that packets of information are literally not making it to the server. So when you go to place your wall, that is a piece of information that just might not get sent. So you're not lagging, it's not delayed, it never happens. So it can lead you to die a lot. So I don't want to give an excuse to the teams obviously playing out of Virginia, but a lot of them are having massive internet issues which will affect their performance. So when you look at the top 50 and maybe there's some teams you're expecting to see in there who aren't, just keep that in mind. I know what you're thinking, Aussie, you just talked about Deyy and clicks. There is no way you're gonna miss what Deyy did in that last game, and I am not. The 18 elim second, the last game to clutch up qualification, came on the back of a ridiculous clutch from Deyy. It was even more crazy. I was doing a viewing party on my Twitch channel, twitch.tv/AussieAntics. If you want to check it out, I do viewing parties of all these tournaments. I had Miro in the chat, and I think he said something along the lines of Deyy clutches this. I put my life on it. I've played with him too long. I know he wins this. Deyy went absolutely crazy, and it made it even more wholesome. Let me show you just a little bit of that section again. There was even more, but I can't put the whole thing in this video, but Deyy is seriously different. Oh my god, Deyy is so good.
Top 11, wood right there.
2 players, duo.
Nice.
Oh my god, so good.
0 kill, baby. 0 kill.
So good. Bro, there's no way he kills this guy. It's fucking disgusting. It's actually not fair to be this disgusting. Oh my god, he's in. Oh no. Oh.
Nice.
Oh my god, so disgusting. Holy shit, he's so good. No, no mats. Oh, almost 100. Oh my god. I'm crazy.
I'm actually different. I am so different.
I don't think Scoped was too happy with Deyy taking all the spotlight, because in literally the very next game, Scoped was left to solo clutch up the qualification for him and Blake. He went on to win the game, but unfortunately they were 1 point off qualifying. If Scoped could have got 1 more elim, they would have qualified, but I still got to throw it in there because honestly, Scoped went insane.
Take a solo.
Oh, pull out the other SMG. Oh, never mind. 1 clip's enough apparently.
You're top 12 right now.
There we go. Now we got 2 again. And we're in.
Nice scope.
Go, Scoped. Go, son. Holy shit. Got a refresh. Oh my god. Med missed.
Nice scope. Top 2.
Go, Scoped. Oh my god. I think even if he wins this, they might not qual though. Oh, he's done so well. Oh, Scope's done so well here. This guy thinks he's safe. He's got another one.
Oh my god, I'm crazy.
So exceptional, it's crazy.
I'm actually crazy now.
So good, it's crazy. All right, now before I jump into talking about the PlayStation Cup at the end of today's video, I have to address the meta. Just obviously pros being very frustrated about what's going on right now, the SMGs, the ARs, the Spider-Man, whatever it is. And I wanted to throw some pros opinions in here just to kind of back up what a lot of people are saying and give you an idea. We had Stretch literally write what is only can be described as an essay. He made a tweet, state of the game, Lumen, Sundown, Hogman, please read. He mentioned Hogman because super excitingly, and I hope this has a good impact on the game, when I made a video a little while ago about Epic hiring someone to bring onto their team to, you know, give them advice and build up the game and hopefully help with the competitive scene specifically, they hired Hogman, ex-Fortnite pro Hogman, who, you know, was one of the best pros back in the day, should hopefully give really good insight to the game. But Stretch wrote a massive essay, and I'm going to link in the description down below. Give it a read if you like. Honestly, it's a really, really good read. It's not just Stretch or any pro just complaining, SMG's bad, Spider-Man bad, Donald Mustard, you're ugly, like not that stupid stuff. It was actually Stretch giving his opinion as someone who has played in in every single season of competitive Fortnite and made grand finals in every season. So a pretty good authority on the situation right now. And I think the tweet he put at the bottom of it really sums up his mood. He says, at the end of the day, I'll play this game until I'm literally the last player left and will never quit. And I'm sure that's the same for many people, but I want to be happy while playing and enjoying myself. I have had fun every single season, but right now it's just unenjoyable at the moment. And I really think this sums up the situation right now. Like when pros are just complaining and whinging and they're just saying things are bad and just raging in all caps, I listen, but I kind of ignore it a little bit because it's just the pros are always complaining. And I'm sure you guys know that as well. And I'm not going to say that's a bad thing. Their lives are on the line when it comes to this game. It's what they're, putting their entire future into. It's upsetting when things don't go their way. But when you see the pros kind of get sad and start to give like really well thought out, like good responses to the situation, that's when I get a bit scary, because that's when things are almost like, when your parents tell you they're not mad, they're just disappointed and it was so much worse. That's kind of where I see this right now. And it's not just pros like Stretch who are known to be complaining about the meta and stuff. You've got content creators and now obviously a pro, Jerry, who's trying to compete, tweeting out, it's actually a disgrace that Epic is hosting tournaments in this meta. Broken SMGs, Spider-Man mythics, invisible players, awful servers, MK7s. Pretty sad considering how great Chapter 3 could be. And I think that sums up a lot of people's opinions. I've given you your guys my opinion on the season. I think SMGs and MK7s need to be nerfed, specifically in competitive. I fully get why casuals like them. Spray meta is a bit more fun to casuals. There's not so many elements to it. It's not as difficult as a box fight meta, but that in itself means it's less competitive. And I think almost everyone whose opinion I really respect in the competitive scene agrees. Whether you like the meta, whether you find it fun or refreshing, it's easier. It's easier to place right now than what it is in a box fight meta. And if it's easier, it's not as competitive. And that's what I want to see, a more competitive meta. But it's Fortnite at the end of the day. And I've been the one saying I want to see some fun craziness in the game. So when it comes down to things like Spider-Man Mythic, which I agree does decrease the skill ceiling a little bit, it adds enough fun and craziness where I think it's worth the skill ceiling dropping because it's still really fun, right? Where the SMGs and the ARs, I feel like they're a very frustrating gun for a lot of pros because it's lowering the skill ceiling so much. But if anything, it's also lowering the enjoyment of watching it and playing. I mean, I watched the tournament today. I did an 11-hour stream. I had a lot of fun because just like Stretch, I love competitive Fortnite. I love watching it. I love being involved in it. And even if the meta is pretty bad, which honestly, this is one of the worst ones we've seen, I'm still going to enjoy it. But I could be enjoying it so much more. I want the game to be really, really good. And that's why people give their criticism. That's why I give my criticism. I think Epic needs to step up a little bit and start listening to the comp scene about what they want, because pros are going to start quitting in waves. And I know what you guys always say, oh, if they quit, new pros will step up and take their place, but it's at a scary level. I feel like even average competitive players right now are not enjoying the meta. It's just, again, leave the SMGs and ARs how they are in pubs. If people really like it as casuals, that's fine. I can fully understand why casuals like it, but in competitive specifically, maybe just tone down the damage. There's no reason why we can't make this big distinction between casual and competitive play. Make the gun just do less damage in the competitive playlist in arena and tournaments. I think most people, like 99% of people, would be happy with that compromise. I have to imagine there is just no downside to that. As far as I go anyway. Let me know in the comments down below your guys' thoughts. I wanted to include that in there. Still really fun to watch. Could be a better tournament season if the weapons were patched up a little bit, and it looks like we might be getting that. As of this video going live, there is a patch tonight which is adding the new weather events and the flare guns, I believe. And then we have the massive update in a week's time, which is Tilted Towers, the dinosaurs, the IOs, the mythic SMG, scares me a little bit, and the new IO like cave base situation thing. So we have 2 huge updates in less than 7 days. There's a very good chance one of these will finally address the weapons, and I really hope they do. We have our first console tournament of the season. It's only a few days away as well. I feel like Epic really didn't give a lot of heads up for this one. We had Fortnite Competitive tweet out, PlayStation players, where you at? Playing the Fortnite PlayStation Cup this Friday and Saturday for an opportunity to earn a share of $107,000 prize pool. We have the official rules. Now, going through the official rules, there's a few interesting things I want to point out, which I'll talk about in a second, but I know what the main conversation is going to be in the comments already. Why is it just PlayStation? Why is PlayStation getting all these tournaments and Xbox isn't? Well, unfortunately for you Xbox guys, obviously coming off Microsoft consoles, Sony are now percentage ownerships of Epic. Sony have a percentage share of Epic as a company. So they are obviously going to be investing more money into Fortnite, and Fortnite is going to reciprocate and do more things for Sony. Right now, if you're playing on console, PlayStation is the superior platform when it comes to Fortnite as far as integration and tournaments. I'm not going to get into a debate on whether, Fortnite runs better on a PlayStation or Xbox, and I know PS PS5s are harder to get your hands on than like a freaking unicorn at this point. Like, I get it. I know the consoles are difficult, but at the same time, when people are going to start complaining, getting upset about why PlayStation's getting so many tournaments, that is why. It's because of that collaboration. It does annoy me a little bit that Epic last season said they were going to bring back a lot of console cups, something I've been pushing a lot for, and the only console cups we got was the Champions Console Cup, which wasn't new, and then Sony specific tournaments. There was no actual Xbox tournament or any console tournament, as far as I'm aware, for money outside of the Console Champions Cup. So I feel you guys, I fully agree with the fact that they want more console tournaments. I agree with that. We've talked about that plenty on the channel, but I wanted to make sure you guys understood why there's not a lot of Xbox tournaments and why there's so many PlayStation tournaments. I know that doesn't make it any better. You're still frustrated, but hopefully that gives you some kind of an understanding. Now, breaking down this actual tournament itself, it's kind of interesting to look at. So far, they did EU, NA East, NA West, and Brazil get the same prize pool. OC and Middle East the same prize pool, and there is no Asia. I still don't fully understand. I've tried to find some answers about why there's no Asia Cup and why specifically Japanese players are not eligible to play, because Epic specifically mentions the Japanese players are not eligible to play. If you guys know, let me know in the comments down below. But I found it interesting that NA West, a region that is so much smaller than EU, has the exact same prize pool as EU. If you get first on EU, that's $1,200. If you get first on NA West, that's still $1,200. That is very, very surprising to me, and Epic has never done that before. NA West prize pool is now so much lower than EU for everything else. So I don't know why the console cup's any different, but it's a 2-day event. It looks like round 1 is going to be open competition, where you'll have 3 hours to play a maximum of 10 games and earn as many points as you can. Only the top 100 players in each region will advance to round 2. So it's pretty simple. 2 rounds, first round open to anyone. It doesn't say how many arena points you need, and when I go to the official rules, I get hit with a 404 error not found, so I can't break down the actual official rules for you guys, unfortunately, but I'm gonna guess it's probably opens division like most of these console tournaments are, and then top 100 going down to a set lobby round 2, where I imagine it's going to be 6 rounds, and at the end of that you're going to walk away with the prize money. So pretty cool tournament. Is taking place on the 14th and 15th, like we already said, and it's a bit of fun. It'll be exciting. We'll see who the PlayStation guys are that come out on top. It doesn't feel like it's a console tournament. You can't really brag about winning it like you're the best console player like you can with the Console Champions Cup or tournaments that are open to all consoles. So hey, it's a bit of cash, it's a bit of fun. I mean, the format looks all right. Each elimination is worth 1 when it comes to the opens round, and then in round 2 each elimination is worth 2. It looks like you are going to be getting 30 points for the victory royale, so it's a pretty standard good format, and the tournament's exciting, but I just know already a whole bunch of Xbox players gonna be really upset. Alright guys, that does it for another video. I hope you enjoyed. If you did, please chuck a like on it, subscribe to the channel if you haven't, and I'll see you in the next one.